Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the BoreDraw podcast, episode number 75. We're joined today here by a cripple.
Can you see it?
He's got Daboot.
Broken my ankle.
Yeah, he's done it saving, 12 orphans from the burning building, kicking down the door. Yeah, you had to be there to see it. But we are here today to discuss the madness that is the Premier League.
The Premier League title race in particular.
It is doing what the Premier League does
It's doing
best.
madness, and it's two teams, maybe not so much Arsenal, but you could say it's two teams at the beginning of the season that you wouldn't expect to be battling out for the title.
100%. I mean, I don't think anyone would have seen I wouldn't say drastic fall off that Man City have had, but I think the shining season of Aston Villa, the consistent performances of Arsenal, and the ruggedness of a somewhat faltering Liverpool team who seem to manage to get there or thereabouts.
Yeah, Liverpool's an interesting one, but we'll talk about them at the end because I think they're the least exciting of the three.
100%.
Who do you want to talk about first, Arsenal or Aston Villa?
Let's talk about Arsenal, the team we somewhat expected to be there this season, and they're doing just that. They're keeping pace, setting the pace at the minute.
Setting the pace, baby.
Sitting at the top of the table. And the theme of Arsenal throughout this season has been they haven't been at their best, but they are doing it.
Yeah.
A 2-0 result at home to Brighton is something to not be understated. I know Brighton haven't had the season continuing from where they left off, but
yeah, they're a weird one, aren't they, Brighton? Because they're in and around it. I think they're like 8th or 9th. They're getting decent results here, but then some not so great results there. But they're still solid under De Zerbi. They're a hard fixture. And Arsenal versus Brighton, it's a bit of a bogey team for Arsenal.
It is, yeah.
I think we're four fixtures against them without a win.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like you said, it can't be understated that a 2-0 win, and in my opinion, one of the most dominant games of football I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the shining star in this game was Declan Rice yet again. Hands down, probably being the best midfielder in the Premier League this season.
100%.
And I've seen a lot of people saying he's making that £100 million price tag looking like an absolute bargain, which is maybe one of the highest accolades you can get.
100%. When you got donuts like Enzo and Caicedo costing 100 million.
If you've got a £100 million price tag, that is heavy. I know that people spend that money willy-nilly nowadays, but it's still heavy. That is ridiculous. And he's doing it week in, week out, and often in an understated fashion. To keep a clean sheet against Brighton as well, who are one of the most prolific teams in front of goal, the amount of chances they create.
They are indeed. This is the first time in 49 games that De Zerbi's team haven't had a single shot on target in the first half. And I feel like I don't do enough Arsenal propaganda for an Arsenal fan on this podcast.
I don't know about that, mate.
You might disagree. I feel like I need to do more propaganda.
You need to pick and choose your times better,
But I'll let De Zerbi do the propaganda for me. After the game, De Zerbi said, Arsenal played much better than us. Arsenal played much better than us. They deserved to win the game. We suffered a lot. I think Arsenal are one of the best, maybe this season, are the best team in the Premier League. And I think that kind of sums it up. That Man City, we talk about them, they are the best team in the league, but they're faltering at the moment. Their form's a bit inconsistent. Liverpool, I don't think are there, and we'll talk about them in a bit. I think they're a bit overrated. And then the only other teams you can talk about are maybe Spurs, who have fallen off, but are a good, solid side.
They got a good result on the weekend.
Very good result.
After a bumbly patch for them.
Yeah, I think once they got their full team back, they are in the conversation as one of the best teams in the league.
But the thing is, they've already dropped too many points to be considered a title race for me.
But Arsenal and Aston Villa, consistent top form at the moment. I think Aston Villa, who we'll touch on in a bit, only Man City have got more points than them this calendar year. So they're two strong outfits. And I think for other managers like De Zerbi to say Arsenal are the best team in the league, you got to put some respect on the Gunners.
100%. I mean, let's not forget though, Brighton are a team who topped their group in the Europa League.
Yeah,
and they're through to the knockouts, which isn't always easy. And for me, I think where Brighton have fallen this season is that lack of depth, and they've also introduced new ways of playing. I mean, they lost Caicedo, who was obviously a main pivotal part in their team, and they've seen like Tariq Lamptey come back into the squad. Obviously, they've got Ansu Fati in on loan, brought in João Pedro for a big bit of money. So it's just they're operating in a slightly different fashion to how they did in the later Potter years, moving into De Zerbi's early stages. But to get that result, I think is outrageous. It's a clean, domineering performance. Like you said, you took the control away from Brighton, which isn't what they're used to. You from minute one, you stuffed out their flame, which is
100%
exactly what you wanted to do. Because if Brighton get a goal early on and get a few chances, it'll get them going.
Yeah, it got to a stage in the game where we were so dominant, but we weren't finishing our chances, and it reeked of like a last-minute winner from Brighton or a last-minute equaliser, and we weren't going to get the maximum points from this game. But what I like, and I think last season we would have dropped points in this game, be it a goalkeeping error or not being able to take our chances at the top of the pitch. But this season, I think with the inclusion of Declan Rice and Saliba and Gabriel being so unbelievably dominant, I think the best centre-back pairing in world football at the moment. Even if we don't take our chances at the top of the pitch, the other teams are just getting nothing all the time. Whereas like last season, we'd be dominant, but teams will still get chances.
Mm-hmm.
We are conceding nothing at the moment. Like I said, Brighton's first half XG 0. I think we are just so dominant all over the pitch, but specifically in the centre with Declan Rice, Gabriel and Saliba. Teams they just can't get shots off on goal. They can't. And that's, I think, why teams are coming to us and kind of sitting back and we're struggling to break them down. And it might look like, yes, Arsenal aren't as fluid going forward, but I think that is just as a kind of counter to us being so dominant defensively.
Yeah, for me, I think where Arsenal lacked going forward is that transitional player between the midfield and the forward player. I think Odegaard's filling a much different role this season. And you've lost that sort of box to box of Xhaka.
Yeah,
where he would always be arriving late, and he took up so much space on the pitch. And I think when you watch the way that Arsenal played, their routes forward are much different this season. So the fact that you're still scoring goals though and getting the points on the board is everything. The man who's sort of taken Xhaka's place this season had a very rough start.
Very rough start.
But now he's got 4 goals in 4 successive games for Arsenal, which is
starting to find some form. And I think he's starting to understand the role that Arteta wants from him. I think at the start, when his form was a bit patchy, he was too high alongside the striker. And then at some points too deep alongside kind of like Declan Rice. But he's now kind of understanding his role a bit more, where he needs to be.
What he doesn't have to do.
Exactly.
So, because I think you watch the early games, he's everywhere doing nothing.
Yeah.
He looked like Bambi on ice. He didn't know where he was meant to be, and now he's finding it. He's understanding what Declan's going to offer him and allow him to get away with, which is really important. And if you get a player from your midfield who plays that role, scoring 8 to 10 goals in a season, that's going to do absolute wonders for you.
100%. He's starting to, like I said, just kind of understand his role. And he's one of those, he's such a confidence player. And now that the confidence is up, he's been said, like, when I get confidence and contributions in front of goal, I enjoy my football a lot more. So, it's one of those players that, like, you've just got to kind of stick by him. He will have patches.
The other person I want to touch on a lot is Gabriel Jesus. I think if you take him out of this game and you have probably Eddie up front, or maybe you have Havertz playing the 9, this is a very different game. I think you lack the control in the forward areas. I think your press isn't as good.
Yeah, he's one of the best in the world, isn't he?
The way you unlock defenses with Gabriel Jesus, he's a cheat code. He draws so much attention from the defensive unit of the other team that he frees up so much space. And his link-up play, his interplay, like the very technical one-touch round, one pass.
See how he skinned dunk on the halfway line. Yeah,
he strikes fear into the defenders of any team.
He's like a 2-man job minimum. Like, you can't play like one centre-back, like Jesus, and the other one mark the space. Both centre-backs have got to be paying attention to Jesus.
Is it nuts to say that maybe Man City would be better with Jesus than Haaland? Or have they got Julian Alvarez to fill that role now?
I don't know, mate. One of the things with City is their goals aren't coming from a variety of sources like Arsenal. So, like, where Jesus lacks in goal scoring, you got Saka, you got Martinelli, now you got Havertz and Odegaard. I don't think City, without De Bruyne, have enough goals around the pitch that they could supplement Jesus' lack of clinicality, whereas like Haaland's like 4 players in Arsenal's worth of goals. So it's one of those, if they had Jesus instead of Haaland, they'd need more goals elsewhere, which I don't think they have.
100%. I think for me, we'll touch on Liverpool a bit later, and the game next weekend is it? Is
Liverpool,
it
Arsenal, yeah.
What is it? What day is it on? The 20?
This Saturday
23rd?
or this Sunday? Yeah.
That's going to be a massive game.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is that for me. I don't want to say it's the title. It's not a title decider because obviously they've got to play each other again later in the season.
But it
and
is
the shape of the
it's
table.
an intent
But
marker.
That's it to a T. This sets the precedent. Then,
Yeah.
If Liverpool get a result against Arsenal, that's huge. That throws everything into chaos.
It does. It's interesting because I think this one is almost, I was going to say a bit of a free hit for Liverpool because, well, it was prior to the Man United game, which we'll touch on. But because Liverpool, Anfield, Arsenal will always go to Anfield and get turned over. And so if Liverpool get anything out of this game, a draw or a win.
Is it Anfield?
Yeah. It's. I think it's a bit of a nothing game for them. Whereas Arsenal, this means everything. If they go to Anfield and get a result, they're front runners for the Premier League for me.
You beat City, and then you would have taken 3 points away at Anfield.
Exactly. That makes Arsenal front runners for the league.
100%. I think the only thing is, if Liverpool come away with 3 points, I still don't think that's it. It's done, set and buried. Because I can see Liverpool dropping points, stupid points, to someone like Bournemouth,
Yeah.
like a Sheffield United or Wolves. Whereas Arsenal, they're just consistently getting it over the line.
Yeah.
Like, you have confidence every week. If you put them into your ACCA, they're coming away with a win because they're just that consistent. You go back to their form from the beginning of last season, they hardly lost or drew a game. And it sounds stupid and so simple to say, but that is why they're up there.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they don't lose stupid games.
Well, exactly that. I think Arteta must have looked at the run-in last season where we dropped stupid points at Liverpool, at Southampton, at West Ham. We dropped a lot of stupid points at the end of that season. He must look at that run-in and think, not a chance are we doing that again. So we've got to build up this momentum about beating every single team, no matter if it's a 1-0, 2-0 like today, or if it's like a 4-3 like it was against Luton.
And those stupid points dropped came from stupid goals conceded.
Exactly.
And obviously, over this season, you don't lose Saliba, and you've got Declan Rice. So, and you've also got now January to strengthen, to bring in a couple more players, give you that extra depth, or maybe that bit of firepower going forward.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is obviously something they're going to look at in the
January
market.
is
Whereas last
key.
season, you weren't super active in January. I think you bought in like Fior
and Jorginho.
Which maybe it wasn't the proactivity you needed, and people
100%.
calling for it. Get that striker in. That was the time Jesus was injured.
Exactly.
Get that striker in, and it never materialised. And I know you want to bring the right kind of players, and it's so important that you don't just fire out at anyone. But yeah, I think you're just in a very good position right now. And for me, we'll talk about who we think is going to come away with the Premier League title at the end of the season. But for me, at the minute, I think it's yours to lose.
Interesting. Another team who are high flying, currently in third place after the Liverpool versus Man United result. Aston Villa. They got a hard fought, controversial, drama filled 2-1 win against Brentford.
Yeah, it was. Who was it? Keane Lewis Potter.
Keane Lewis Potter opened the score
Scored
for
an
Brentford.
absolute corker of a goal.
I like him a lot, and yeah, Brentford are in a weird space at the moment where they got Mbomo injured, Ivan Toney obviously suspended, so they're playing Wissa and Keane Lewis Potter. I think Shard is also injured, so they're kind of a bit injury stricken, and they've come up against a high flying Aston Villa. Aston Villa, I didn't even realise their recent form. So they beat Spurs 2-1. And then they went to Man City 1-2-0, absolutely dominated Man City. Then beat Arsenal 1-0, not a domination in that sense, but a very good result. To beat Spurs, Man City and Arsenal all in that run, hella impressive. And then they come here, 2-1 victory. This game, though, I'm going to be honest, I don't think watching this game makes me think Aston Villa are in it for the long haul, title challenge wise, and I'll give you a few reasons why. But before I get into why I don't think they're title challengers, I want to just applaud the job that Unai Emery is doing. Like I said earlier, only Man City in this calendar year have got more points than them. That's insane. 81 points in 2023. When we're talking about Chelsea having 39, that's embarrassing. Since Unai Emery's first Premier League game in charge, only Haaland and Salah have got more goal involvements than Ollie Watkins.
And I think you're going to continue on to one of the reasons being that they are too reliant on Ollie Watkins in terms of their output going forward.
Yes.
I think Moussa Diaby's had a bit of a fall
Moussa
off.
Diaby and Leon Bailey are like, but
It's not
none of them
consistent
none of them carry the output that Ollie Watkins does. And there are players on that pitch, I think if they lose them, they're in trouble, like Pau Torres or like
Douglas Luiz,
John McGinn, that kind of. But even those guys, I think they've got enough in that position. Like if Pau Torres goes out, you've got Diego Carlos, you've got Ezri Konsa, you've got Tyrone Mings coming back. That'd be fine. If you lose Douglas Luiz or John McGinn, you've got Kamara, Tielemans, Zaniolo. There's no one in that team that does what Ollie Watkins does. Goals, genuinely every game. You're talking about Arsenal and Yaka. You put Ollie Watkins in Yaka, that's golden.
Yeah.
I think there is an over-reliance in Ollie Watkins. And you see the games where, and it's rare now, it used to be a bit more often where he'd have a stinker. It's rare now, but if he has a stinker, Aston Villa don't get a result.
I think it's testament to how much work Emery's put in with him. I think
so good.
Even when he was at Brentford, people know he was just dangerous all the time going forward. Just constantly offside, offside machine. And when the goal scoring opportunities came, he was just never around. He was in the wrong positions.
Yeah.
He was too busy running the channels.
Yeah.
And I think you can go back, you'll find an interview where he said, and Emery said to him, I don't want you running the channels. I want you to be there to finish the chances.
Yeah.
When you do that, and you've got the ability like Ollie Watkins, you've got the attributes, the speed, he's strong on the ball, he's technically good. That's a defender's nightmare. We spoke about Gabriel Jesus. 2 defenders are going to have to pick him up because he is trouble.
Yeah, they're very similar, but probably Ollie Watkins is better in front of goal. And then Jesus is probably technically a bit better. But they're both, like you said, 2-man handfuls.
Keeping on Ollie Watkins for a minute, come the start of the Euros, does he have to be in a starting position for England?
Harry's doing madness.
I know he is, but can you afford to leave someone up? He scored 22 goals this calendar year,
Yeah.
And then say we've got another 20 games nearly to go, and he gets another 10, 15 goals.
You're spitting.
He's got to anyone on the left-hand side, and I know it's not his ideal position.
No.
But you can't afford to have someone in that form
100%.
losing those guys.
And Gareth's not the guy, but we've got to make him do kind of like a 4-1-2-1-2 diamond with Harry and Ollie Watkins up top with Jude just behind. That'd be disgusting.
Yeah, I'm going to book in
then
a
what do you
team
do
meet with
Saka?
Gareth. Yeah.
Jesus, there's problems, but
yeah, for me, the question will be with Aston Villa is can they keep it up? But you look at the consistency from the beginning of last season, they've had their hard run.
Yeah, exactly. That run that I was talking about is fucked. That was hard.
Was a difficult game because Brentford set up to be difficult to beat.
Yep.
Brentford would have been happy with a point coming into this.
Yep.
But they've got it over the line again.
Yeah, like you said, their hard run is done now. I was looking at their fixtures. They've got a nice little run now where they've got Sheffield United. They've got a few teams lower down the league. So I think Sheffield United, and then who they got?
You got Martinez and go on it.
Yeah, but he doesn't. But yeah, easy, decent run coming up. But I think one thing for me and Aston Villa is this kind of... It's January. I'm worried about them being kind of... Pulled apart. I know Ollie Watkins has just signed a new deal, so I can't see anyone. But like, why doesn't Man United come in for him? Or
if someone drops 80
mil, why don't Spurs come in for him?
It could be.
Because he is big six material.
You would have said the same thing about Grealish. I know Grealish was destined to leave at the end of that season. But it can happen. We've seen it happen. 80 million comes in. They could reinvest that.
100%.
Let's not forget this. I know they're a massive club, but can clubs like this afford to turn down 80 million? If you get rid of that, and you can go find someone for 50 million who can score 80% of the goals that Ollie Watkins.
Yeah, you're spitting.
You're doing
Douglas Luiz. I think Aston Villa slapped a 100 mil price tag on his head, and apparently in the media, Arsenal and Man City aren't put off by the 100 million, and they might go in for Douglas Luiz.
I like Douglas Luiz, but he is not 100 million.
He's not a £100 million player.
Mate, but honestly, Chelsea can go fuck himself.
They've ruined the market
the
again.
DM market.
Yeah, again.
And
but
they've done nothing with it.
Yeah, Aston Villa can't say no to 100 million for Douglas Luiz. Ezri Konsa, you suggested him for Man United. I think that's a good deal. There's a lot of players in that Aston Villa team that I think I think they are onto a good thing. They're Europa League at the moment. They're looking like they're at minimum going to get Champions League next year. Maybe the players won't leave. They like the Emery project.
I'm not being funny yet, but if they can keep Watkins, which I think they will, and they can keep one of Luiz or Konsa or McGinn, I can't see McGinn actually leaving. But if they keep one of Luiz and Konsa, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good players there that teams should be looking at. But maybe the Aston Villa project right now is too enticing.
Another team top their European group.
Exactly.
Through to the knockout stages. So, yeah, for me, the market is there for someone like Ollie Watkins to move to Chelsea, a Man United, even a Spurs. But I think that new deal says it all.
Yeah, it's a statement of intent from Villa to keep their best players. And I think it could go one of two ways for Villa. They are in a lot of competitions. They're going the distance in Europe. So could that kind of take a toll on their title challenge?
100%. 100%. I think we've seen it with Newcastle already. But they've got the fattest injury list I've ever seen.
Yeah, if they get hit with injuries at Aston Villa,
it could be... Newcastle had half those injuries and hadn't lost Tonali, I think they would have been in the Champions League knockout rounds.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think they'd be right up sniffing Liverpool's butt crack.
Yeah, mad. And you don't want to be there. But a good thing for Aston Villa that I saw in this game is that they got Jacob Ramsey back and Alex Moreno back. Two players that I think are vital to Emery's system. Alex Moreno, he brought him in to replace Digne when he first arrived, and I think Alex Moreno...
Straight into Garth Crooks' team of the week.
Yeah, he's...
he had Dallo in there as well.
Yeah, and he had Cole Palmer at DM, which is mad. But
I've seen this guy on TikTok, I can't remember what his name is, but...
Trying to predict it.
Yeah, trying to predict Garth Crooks' team of the week.
Yeah.
My God.
So funny.
I like it though. I think he knows that he's doing a madness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Jacob Ramsey back. I've rated Jacob Ramsey so highly. I think he's such a baller. And to get him back in the team, I think he created the most chances this game. Happy days for Aston Villa. One thing I do want to touch on is, do you see the little kerfuffle at the end where there was a red card and Ollie Watkins was beefing the fan and Martinez and Mopé had a little scrap? I think so many issues here. Mopé, massive wanker. Emi Martinez, even bigger wanker.
But he's got pedigree.
Yeah, you probably can't chat to Martinez because he's
a World Cup winner.
Yeah, so you probably can't chat to him, but I think he is just a massive bell end. And then Kamara at the end, I think he grabbed, I can't remember who it was from Brentford's throat, he got red carded. And then I like the touch from the manager. You can tell Unai Emery and Thomas Frank are classy managers because they came out post-match and were like, and as fans, you love a bit of beef, so it's probably like...
Mate, that was everything that was missing from that Liverpool game.
Literally that. But yeah, both managers were like, we don't like the kind of head loss on our players. We will talk to our players.
If you're a manager and you're high flying and one of your best players gets sent off...
It's not ideal.
It's ridiculous. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Mate, if you do it and it's a bad tackle...
Yeah,
that's one thing. But just
to throttle a guy,
off or something like that.
Stupid.
That's it.
In like the 95th minute as well. Like, I know they're playing Sheffield United next week. Actually, I don't know who he's suspended for, but yeah, lucky their run of fixtures are quite easy coming up that they don't need him because
they're lucky they haven't got many injuries.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you have a few injuries in the midfield area. We saw it with Spurs. Van der Ven got injured.
Yeah.
Romero lost his head. Got like 3-game suspension.
That's a good point.
And then you suddenly like
drop some points here and there, and then
like you say,
drop out of the title race.
You're in a Premier League title race. 2 weeks go by and you're straight out of it.
Exactly, especially with fixtures coming thick and fast at the moment. Right, talking of title races, I want to hit you with some statistics. I don't know how official these are. It's Opta kind of deciding on the spot. So, Opta do this thing as the weeks go on. They kind of give you a percentage chance of each team winning the league. And currently,
obviously, it takes into account
fixtures coming up, form,
future fixtures, form.
They got a supercomputer. It's all AI, probably. Fuck knows. But
we've got bigger ones in here.
So yeah, we're going to give you Opta's percentages for winning the league. Then I'll give you mine, and then Luke will give you his, and we can you can discuss in the comments below what your percentages are. So they've currently got Man City as favourites still for the Premier League, even though Man City are in 4th, 5 points off top of the league. Do you see, actually, before we get on to that, do you see De Bruyne is back?
I wouldn't love nothing more than De Bruyne just to come back and
ruin my life
and finish top of the assist charts and absolutely sweep the rest of the league.
And make me sad.
He's got like long hair now.
It made me sad for calling him washed. Man City, they've got top winning the Premier League at 39% chance. And then Arsenal in second with 30% chance of winning the league. And they've got Liverpool quite high, in my opinion, on 24% chance of winning the Premier League. So they think if you were to play out the season 4 times, Liverpool would win them once. That's mad.
That do be what they're saying.
That do be statistics. And then they got Aston Villa on 7%, Spurs on 0.5%, and then the rest is kind of just mumbo jumbo. So, how do you feel about that? Man City 39%, 30% for Arsenal. So is Man City kind of here, and then Arsenal and Liverpool kind of in that little inner bit, and then we'll talk about Aston Villa potentially.
Aston Villa is a
outsider,
heavy outsider.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's the safe bet, isn't it? You can't go wrong the Supercomputer. Give us your...
Well...
Roz has pulled his percentages out.
I've just pulled some percent. I've gone round. I don't want to do any kind of point whatever. I've got Man City and Arsenal. So, like, do you know what I was saying? Man City, and then it was Arsenal and Liverpool.
You've got that gap.
My gap to Man City is a lot closer. I've got Man City at 45%, and I've got us at 40%. I think it's us neck and neck with Man City, pretty much. And then way down in 10%, I've got Aston Villa, not even Liverpool. I've got Aston Villa with a higher percent chance of winning the Premier League. And then 5%, so close to... Yeah, so we could do a duo of Arsenal and Man City, and then a duo outsiders of Liverpool and Aston Villa.
So I'm going to go... I haven't had a chance.
He actually hasn't given me...
He's thrown this upon me. So I'm going to go Man City...
They don't have to have to 100.
I'm going to go Man City... I'm going to go Arsenal.
Arsenal favourites.
I'm going to go Arsenal at 48%.
Oh, he's put out a fucking rogue percentage as well.
I'm going to go Manchester City at 38%.
So you think there's a reasonable gap? You think it is in Arsenal's hands? Because I'd say from my percentage one, I wouldn't say it's in Man City's hands or Arsenal's hands. I'd say that's neck and neck. Opta have got it in Man City's hands still.
Yeah, I've switched it up, mate.
You've got it in Arsenal's hands.
100%. Mate, watching City this season, I've been so... They look like a top 4 team.
Mad. Okay.
City have smashed a couple games, yeah, and like they do, they're bound to do that. But they are not looking... If they don't get what's going on now sorted, they're in big trouble. They were lucky to come away with 3 points at Luton.
I'll back it. I think my percentage is probably a little bit skewed by just past trauma.
How do you go draw in the 95th minutes Crystal Palace? How's Phil Foden giving away penalties? It's nuts.
Foden, mate.
You're getting put under the cosh. You spent £18 million on a centre-back who's done nothing.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about, like, Arsenal concede no chances, and the best City teams conceded no chances. That Chelsea team under Mourinho conceded,
literally
15
goals
all
in the season, yeah.
To be the best in the league, you've got to concede nothing. And Pep's team, for the first time in, I think, a hot minute, they're conceding chances. Teams are getting at them.
I mean, they're going to be there or thereabouts, and probably the percentage should be a little bit higher, and I'm maybe being a little bit Arsenal propagandist here, but...
And then what do you reckon Aston Villa and Liverpool, are you even getting them in there?
I'm doing Liverpool at a 12% chance.
And Aston Villa not even
at
playing?
2%.
Yeah, okay.
And everyone else can get in a bin.
Okay.
I think Villa...
We'll come back to these.
You'll have 2-3 games where you pick up like 2 points or something.
Yeah.
And then that could be it. Especially they might be thinking, right, our best chance of getting anything this season, Europa Conference.
That could be naughty, to be fair.
Which I think they'll probably take. But that's also a good chance of them getting the top 4. I don't know if they'll finish in the top 4 this season, but
I think they will.
Although I have been saying that consistency is ridiculous. But for me, Liverpool are...
Yeah, let's talk about Liverpool.
Liverpool are, for me, the outside, the dark horse. And if anyone's going to challenge Arsenal and City, it's going to be them. The firepower they have is unreal. And I know this is ridiculous to say off the back of a stinker against Manchester United. If they can sort out their DM, Wataru Endo's not it. That was a panic buy. Yeah. If they can go in, they can get someone. I've said it before, someone like Kimmich, or there are players out there you can go for. They just got to be smart, and hopefully going into the January window, they've identified 2 or 3 that they can get. Even if they get Paulinho,
that's a big shout.
Luiz.
Yeah. Douglas Luiz, I was going to say him, yeah.
There's going to be competition, though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because half the DMs in the league are at Chelsea.
And then the rest are at Arsenal.
Yeah. And Man United have got Casemiro, Amrabat,
and Kobe Manu,
who was excellent. But
yeah, I think my percentages are skewed. Liverpool percentage is skewed by how bad that Liverpool versus Man United game was. It was just the dreariest game of football. I listened to Gary Neville on Com say this was the weirdest atmosphere at Anfield he's ever seen.
Yeah, he said it was just not electric at all. And
they just opened the new stand, so there was even more people there than usual, and the atmosphere was worse.
Yeah,
so bad.
I thought it looked like the Anfield was just full of tourists.
Yeah,
It looked like it was like just tourist FC. There was
Man United Liverpool. That is a
Anfield
tourist
meant to be
FC
the
game. Yeah.
Arteta spoke about it. He said, "You go to Anfield, your legs will be shaking."
Yeah.
Like,
shit your pants.
but for me, I don't know. I want to see them have a little bit more fight. They obviously changed their team a lot against that Union Saint Gilloise match. Ended up losing 3-2, I think it was.
Yeah. Well, for me, Liverpool, I don't think they've got that kind of winning mentality that old Liverpool team.
I don't know. I think it is there. I think it's just, like we said, they're still in a transition period. Their midfield still needs a lot of work. I think Gravenberg's good. I think Szoboszlai is excellent. I think they don't know their best front three.
Well, that's why I think they just don't have that kind of winning mentality. I think they're just too many unknowns. They don't know their best team. They don't know their best defence.
We're quite big fans of Darwin Núñez on the podcast. But
he needs to sort himself out because
what's that? No goals in like 5 games now.
I think it's more than that. I think
something like that. Yeah.
And he needs to sort himself out because Liverpool, like Aston Villa, a couple of poor results and they could see themselves out of the title race.
That's the thing here. Like, hold on, let me get the table up. But I think so. Arsenal top with 39, and then Tottenham, who are in 5th, are on 33. So that's a 2-game turnaround there. Like, if the top 4 lose 2 games on the bounce, they're not going to happen. But Spurs could be right in there. So that is how quick, and with all the fixture congestion in December, it does come around.
It does.
You're playing the 23rd, you're playing Boxing Day, you're playing New Year's Day. That's 3 games in the space of a week.
And we'll be here to chat shit about it.
So for me, I think Liverpool's firepower is what we're getting through. And they've got Salah.
Yeah, they've got too much firepower
Trent's finding form.
Not be kind of in the conversation. But I think just that Man United game, they just lacked all over the pitch. Defensively, they're all right because Man United didn't pose much. But midfield, they're kind of just dreary. And then going forward, they were taking shots from everywhere.
They're 34 shots.
It's just so, like, nothing exciting about their kind of build-up play.
What worries me is Liverpool's inability to beat any team that doesn't play with a high press. Like, if any team doesn't come at them, then Liverpool very much struggle to unlock. Unless it's a Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, Szoboszlai shot from like 30 yards out.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? They don't get to the byline and get it in quick enough. Because Trent doesn't get to the byline. Tsimikas does, but it's not good enough. They haven't got. The only person in there that's going to get his head in it is Darwin Núñez.
Yeah.
Cody Gakpo's decent in the air. Diego Jota's actually very decent in the air as well. But
so Arsenal, they'll come at Liverpool. How do you reckon that game plays out?
I think that was
big game.
Sort of where I was going with that was I think that game is going to be far more open.
Yeah,
we're going to see Arteta's not going to shy down. I think maybe even to his detriment, he won't set up and respect Liverpool as much as maybe they should.
Yeah, well, that's Man United, apparently, according to Van Dijk, who had like the biggest head loss I've ever seen after a game. He said that Man United came there to defend. They came there to get a point.
Apparently said to Onana and Tony, like, we only played a half hour match of football.
The head loss from Van Dijk. But I get the kind of premise that Man United set up to defend and...
I mean, after getting slapped, what was it like
7-0 last time?
7-0 last time, yeah.
I see. But like Arsenal won't do that. Arsenal are the informed team in the Premier League.
Arsenal will come and control the game.
So
the biggest differential in between those two teams is that midfield. Rice, Havertz, Odegaard
shits all over the Liverpool one.
The only player who probably gets into Arsenal's midfield is Szoboszlai for me.
Maybe, yeah.
And even now, Havertz is finding form, so it'd definitely be a coin toss. But yeah, that's where the game might be won or lost. But we spoke about this so many times on the podcast. One of my favourite things. Liverpool, half the time when they're at their best, they just skip the midfield. Their transition goes from left back, right back, or centre back straight into that forward line.
Yeah.
And who Arsenal lined up with? Zinchenko?
Yeah, I think if we line up with Zinchenko, we could get cooked.
That is the battle where if he gets an early yellow or something, I think that's
because last year, what we did so good is we played Tomiyasu out there and he pocketed Salah.
You had that like 4 centre back lineup.
Tomiyasu's injured. And we don't really have... We could play Kirill there, but it's a big game and a lot to ask from the young lad to pocket Salah. So we probably will start with Zinchenko, especially how good we were last game. But can he pocket Salah for the entire night?
For me, if I'm Jurgen Klopp, that's the side I'm targeting. And I'm looking to just... Will McAllister be back?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
I'm looking to find someone to try and occupy Rice a little bit. Just try and play to that right-hand side. Maybe stick Szoboszlai on the left side of the midfield and have just a rat. Maybe if it's Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones. And I'm just looking for them to just bring Declan Rice as far away from that right hand side, sorry, that Zinchenko side, to just
before we end, let's do a little combined 11, Arsenal and Liverpool.
Let's do it.
In goal,
Alisson.
Yeah, has to be centre back pairing.
Saliba, Gabriel for me.
Oh, so no Van Dijk. I was going to be generous and go Saliba Van Dijk.
I love Van Dijk. I put him
and I think Van Dijk
my Premier League team of all time.
You did,
all time 11. But at the minute, you can't argue with the statistics.
I mean, I'm not going to say no. I'm here for the Arsenal propaganda. I was going to be unbiased.
If
to
I
put
was
Van Dijk.
building a team, I would go.
Nah,
Van
fuck
Dijk.
it. We're doing Gabriel.
But Gabriel and
right back. So it's Ben White or it's
Trent.
Trent.
It's Trent for me.
It's Trent
especially
for
at the
me
minute
as well. Yeah. And then left back is Zinchenko or Tsimikas.
If it's fit, Andy Robertson.
Yeah. But we're not
for
doing
me, that. I might go Tsimikas. I don't think he's put a foot wrong, really.
I think
I'm just not a massive fan of Zinchenko.
Zinchenko's an interesting one because there's games where he is just perfect and games where, like this Liverpool one, where he could feasibly get cooked beyond belief. But I'm going to go Zinchenko.
Yeah, I'll go Tsimikas.
DM, it's got to be Declan Rice.
Declan.
And then I think the whole midfield is Arsenal. I think it's Declan Rice, Havertz and Odegaard.
I'd go Declan Rice, Odegaard and Szoboszlai. I really like Szoboszlai. I think he's really good.
I'll give you Szoboszlai. Right wing, I'm going to be controversial and go Bukayo Saka
I'm
over
going
Salah.
You can't argue with it.
I think you can. Did you watch him against Man? He was so shit.
Yeah, but it is what it is, mate.
He has. I see people tweet, if he doesn't get goals and assists, and I know that's what he's there for. If he doesn't get goals and assists, he is like the worst player on the pitch every single time. And Gabriel Jesus or Darwin Núñez.
If Gabriel Jesus doesn't get goals and assists,
but if he doesn't, he's one of the best players anyway.
Gabs.
Yeah, every day. And then left wing, it's Luis Diaz or Martinelli.
That's a really close one.
And I think it's Martinelli. Both of them aren't firing like they did last season.
Mate, Diaz has been out for
He's been back for 4 or 5.
Yeah, but since before the World Cup.
Yeah.
So that's a long time.
Martinelli's been in and out of the team as well. I think it's got to be Martinelli.
I'll go Gabs. I will go Gabriel Martinelli. I do like him a lot. But I think Luis Diaz is really good.
And then manager, just to get a cheeky.
It's got to be Klopp at the minute, mate.
It's got to be Arteta at the minute, mate.
Champions League, Premier League.
That's old news. That's not at the minute. That's
but
past.
Arteta's project is in full force.
Yeah.
Klopp's had to restart it. He's handed it into the teacher, and the teacher's gone, right, time for the next one.
Bash.
Straight to shredder.
Let us know your percentages on who you think is going to win the title race. Be intrigued to see. Might even bring it up next week on the pod. Let us know what you think about our combined 11 as well. Have you got any people that should be in there or shouldn't be in there?
Just a quick one as well. Tom Lockyer. Hopefully that's all good. Never nice to see anything like that happen. But fortunate it happens at a Premier League game where you've probably got some of the best medics in the world.
100%, yeah.
And it's important that we don't sort of let football overtake what
good
tragedy is.
Good show of sportsmanship from Bournemouth.
Yeah, I've seen people complaining at FPL about them losing Dom Solanke points. Are you mad? Honestly, get your head together because that's ridiculous. But that's always a horrible thing to see. And
rest up.
Nothing but
I hope you're good.
Best. But this will be our last podcast prior to Christmas. So, guys, if you
enjoy Christmas,
hopefully you enjoy Christmas.
Jeez.
Enjoy all the festive fixtures coming up. I hope you get everything you wanted from Santa, especially if it is those 3 points. But if you do want to stick around Friday, we are releasing a special little video regarding some kits. So stick around for that. But we'll be here throughout the festive season, providing you some beautiful festive content.
We will. Follow us on our socials because we tweet all the time, we Insta all the time. So if we're not uploaded on YouTube, we're definitely posting there. Engage with us, man.
Yeah. Leave some comments down below. We're trying to get a little bit more interaction going on in the video. So if you leave a comment, we'll always reply to you. If we get 10 comments on this video, Ros said he'll break his other foot.
I will.
So that's the commitment to the cause.
And I'll do wheelchair football.
Wheelchair football, mate.
For New Year video, Ross does wheelchair football.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for watching, guys. It's been BoreDraw, episode number 75. And have a Merry Christmas.